There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the veil of self-deception finally lifts, revealing truths that have been hiding in plain sight. For your beloved, this moment has arrived with the force of a spiritual awakening, bringing with it both the piercing light of clarity and the weight of profound realization. They now stand at the crossroads between who they were and who they are called to become, understanding with crystalline certainty that the physical distance stretching between you both is not merely the cruel hand of fate or the random workings of circumstance. No, this separation exists as the direct consequence of their own choices, their own failures to act when action was desperately needed. More accurately, it stems from their persistent lack of action during the moments that mattered most. For far too long, they existed in a state of spiritual and emotional paralysis, unable or perhaps unwilling to step forward into the vulnerability that true love demands. They watched precious opportunities to open their heart slip through their fingers like grains of sand, each missed moment adding another layer to the wall they were unconsciously building between you. The emotional security you deserved, the reassurance your heart craved, the words of love that should have flowed freely from their lips, all of these remained locked away in the prison of their own making. And now, in this moment of devastating clarity, they carry within their chest a weight that threatens to crush them, the unbearable burden of guilt and regret that comes from knowing they have wounded the very person they treasure most in this world. Deep within the chambers of their heart, they feel the sharp sting of recognition that they have hurt you not only through their deliberate actions, but perhaps more painfully, through all the things they failed to do. Their silence during those crucial moments when you reached out for comfort spoke volumes, creating a deafening roar that drowned out any possibility of connection. Each time you needed reassurance and met only their quiet withdrawal, seeds of doubt were planted in the fertile soil of your loving heart. Those seeds have now grown into a garden of uncertainty that they themselves cultivated through their neglect. Yet beneath this recognition of their failures lies a truth they fear you may never fully comprehend, the sheer intensity and depth of the emotions they have been carrying for you all along. Hidden beneath layers of carefully constructed emotional armor, behind walls built from fear and misguided pride, exists a love so profound and passionate that it has the power to move mountains and part seas. They have loved you with a fierce intensity that burns like the eternal flame, but they allowed that flame to remain hidden in the darkness of their own making. Looking back through the lens of this new awareness, they can trace the roots of their destructive pattern to one fundamental failure: they never truly opened themselves to you in the way that authentic love requires. In the tapestry of their past behavior, the threads of fear, pride, and the devastating misconception that love could somehow be demonstrated without words or vulnerability created a pattern of distance and disconnection. They operated under the tragically mistaken belief that you would simply understand, that somehow you would be able to read between the lines of their silence and interpret their hidden feelings. How wrong they were. How catastrophically, heartbreakingly wrong. By keeping their deepest feelings locked away in the vault of their heart, they denied you the very thing that makes love flourish: transparency, vulnerability, and the sacred intimacy that comes from being truly seen and known. They withheld from you the closeness that your soul craved, the emotional intimacy that serves as the foundation for all meaningful relationships. In doing so, they created a desert where a garden should have bloomed. In this present moment, as the full weight of their realization settles upon them like a heavy cloak, their heart beats with one consuming desire: to reach across whatever distance exists between you and offer you something they have never given before, a sincere, heartfelt apology that comes from the deepest wells of their being. Not the shallow, half-hearted explanations they may have offered in the past, not the empty words that carry no weight or meaning, but a genuine, soul-deep acknowledgement of their mistakes and the pain they have caused. They understand now, with a clarity that cuts like a blade, that they have given you reasons to question their loyalty and intentions. Through their actions and inactions, they contributed to trust issues that should never have existed between two souls meant to walk this journey together. They see how their elaborate excuses, their defensive explanations, and their refusal to take full responsibility were not just unnecessary, they were actively destructive, eating away at the very foundation of what you were attempting to build together, like termites devouring the framework of a home. When they allow their mind to wander back through the landscape of their past behavior, certain moments rise up like jagged peaks of shame, cutting through their consciousness with particular sharpness. They remember, with vivid and painful clarity, the times when they responded to your texts or calls with coldness that could freeze the warmest heart. They recall moments when arrogance replaced humility, when impatience overshadowed compassion, when they treated your attempts at connection as unwelcome intrusions rather than the precious gifts they truly were. The memory of their dismissive behavior now makes them physically recoil, as they recognize how they made you feel, as though you were asking for too much when all you were seeking was the basic human need for love, attention, and respect. You were asking for nothing more than what every soul deserves in a loving relationship, yet they somehow twisted your reasonable requests into unreasonable demands in their own mind. In stark contrast to their own behavior, they now see with perfect clarity how you approached them with a gentleness that they never deserved, a patience that seemed to have no limits, and a love that remained pure and unconditional even in the face of their coldness. Your love was never harsh or manipulative, never cruel or vindictive. It flowed from your heart like a gentle stream, patient and empathetic, always ready to nourish rather than destroy. You extended the benefit of the doubt to them more times than they can count, offering grace upon grace even when their behavior warranted none. You approached them with an open heart and open hands, ready to give and receive love freely, while they met your warmth with walls that seemed to grow higher with each passing day. The contrast between your loving approach and their defensive response now strikes them as not just tragic, but almost incomprehensible. The turning point in their consciousness came when they finally began to distance themselves from the toxic influences that had been poisoning their mind and heart for far too long. It wasn't until they stepped away from those negative voices, those people who fed on drama and dysfunction, that they were able to see clearly for perhaps the first time in their life. Like someone emerging from a thick fog into brilliant sunlight, they began to understand how much of their own guarded, defensive behavior had been shaped by unhealthy relationships and environments that had nothing to do with you. These toxic influences had been whispering lies into their ears, convincing them to build walls instead of bridges, to choose fear over love, to protect themselves from the very thing they needed most. Once they silenced those destructive voices and removed themselves from those poisonous environments, something miraculous happened. They could finally hear the voice of their own heart clearly, and that voice was speaking your name with every beat. In this newfound clarity, they see you in a completely different light, not because you have changed in any way, but because they are finally looking at you without the distorting haze of outside influence and internal fear. The scales have fallen from their eyes, and they can see you for who you have always been, not just another person passing through their life, but the one soul who helped them connect with their highest self, their truest nature, their most authentic way of being in this world. Whether you realize the profound impact you have had or not, you served as a catalyst for their personal growth and spiritual evolution. Through your words and actions, through your example and your love, you encouraged them both directly and indirectly to look deeper into themselves, to question who they were and to envision who they could become. This influence has been nothing short of transformational, reaching into the very core of their being and awakening dormant aspects of their soul. By helping them connect with their higher self, you set them on a path toward raising their own consciousness and expanding their awareness of what it means to truly love and be loved. They are more awake now than they have ever been, more aware of the consequences of their actions, more conscious of the power their words carry, and more understanding of the vital importance of vulnerability in creating authentic, lasting love. This awakening has not been an easy or comfortable process. In fact, it has been accompanied by waves of overwhelming remorse that crash over them like ocean waves, each one bringing a fresh understanding of the pain they have caused and the opportunities they have wasted. The journey toward enlightenment often requires us to face the darker aspects of ourselves, and they are courageously walking through that darkness now. But alongside the regret, there blooms a flower of deep, profound gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons learned through pain, for your incredible patience that never seemed to run dry, and for the love that you gave so freely without asking for anything in return. They are learning, perhaps for the first time in their life, that love is not sustained by passion alone, but passion certainly has its place. True, lasting love requires openness that makes the soul vulnerable, accountability that takes responsibility for both actions and inactions, and the tremendous courage required to be seen fully, flaws, imperfections, shadows, and all. They carry deep regret for not showing you that authentic, vulnerable side of themselves sooner, for not allowing you to see into the depths of their heart where their true feelings resided. But they are also filled with determination not to let this hard-won awareness go to waste, not to allow these painful but precious lessons to be forgotten in the routine of daily life. In the quiet moments of solitude, they find themselves already composing the words they long to say to you, rehearsing the conversation that plays over and over in their mind like a sacred prayer. They imagine themselves finally telling you everything they have held back for so long, the depth of their caring that runs deeper than the deepest ocean, the magnitude of what you mean to them that defies description, and the sincere, heartfelt apology for letting fear and pride stand as sentries guarding their heart. They want to make you a promise that comes from the very center of their being. If they are ever blessed with another chance to love you properly, they will never again hide behind the silence that has caused so much pain. They will speak when something needs to be said, act when action is required, and never again allow you to feel unseen, unheard, or unloved in their presence. They understand with painful clarity that apologies, no matter how sincere, cannot erase the wounds of the past or undo the damage that has been done. But they hold on to hope that those same sincere words, backed by consistent action and genuine change, can begin the delicate process of healing the wounds that their negligence created. They long for the opportunity to demonstrate through both words and deeds that they have truly changed, that they have learned from their mistakes, and that they are capable of becoming the partner you deserve. They dream of rebuilding the bridge that they allowed to crumble through neglect, of restoring the trust that was lost through their actions, and of finally giving you the love they should have offered from the very beginning. It would be a love informed by wisdom gained through loss, strengthened by understanding earned through pain, and purified by the fire of regret that has burned away their pretenses and false protections. As they reflect on this entire journey, the mistakes that brought such pain, the distance that grew between you, the lessons learned in the school of hard experience, they come to understand something else of profound importance. Even if the path back to your heart proves to be long and uncertain, even if forgiveness doesn't come easily or quickly, they will carry this new awareness with them for the rest of their days. Because of you, they have grown beyond who they thought they could be. Because of your influence, they have seen what love can truly become when it is given freely and received with gratitude. And because of you, they now understand that the greatest tragedy in life is not losing someone due to circumstances beyond our control, but losing them because we never found the courage to show them our true heart, our authentic self, our deepest love. Now, in this season of their life, they want you to know that every step they are taking, every decision that might appear from the outside to be distance or detachment, is actually rooted in their deep, unwavering desire to protect you from harm. You may not always see the forces they see, the shadows that gather around sources of light, but there are people in this world who feel the sharp sting of jealousy when they witness the happiness and joy that you two share together. It's as if the love between you creates a light so brilliant and pure that it inevitably draws shadows as well, people whose own inner darkness makes them want to extinguish or diminish the light they see in others. They have become aware of these forces, and their protective instincts have kicked in with fierce intensity. They don't want those shadows to touch you, to dim your light, or to interfere with the sacred connection you share. So they have made the difficult decision to step back temporarily, to maintain some physical and perhaps emotional distance until the timing is right for you to be together without interference or threat. This choice tears at their heart because every fiber of their being wants to be close to you, but it comes from a place of profound love and protection rather than avoidance or loss of interest. This distance is not about running away from what you have together, it's about creating the optimal conditions where your love can not only survive but truly thrive without unnecessary interference from outside forces. They are working quietly behind the scenes, like a guardian angel you cannot see, to clear away the obstacles that stand in the way of your shared future. Until they can resolve certain complications in their life, until they can establish the kind of stability they know you both deserve and need for a strong foundation, they will maintain this protective distance. It's not because they want to be away from you. In truth, nothing would bring them greater joy than to wake up beside you every morning and fall asleep in your arms every night. But they understand that love sometimes requires sacrifice, and they are willing to sacrifice their own desires for immediate closeness if it means protecting the long-term potential of your relationship. They want to create a situation where, when you finally do come together fully and completely, it will be with no looming fears casting shadows over your happiness, no unstable ground beneath your feet threatening to give way. They envision a life together that is strong and unshakable, built on a foundation so solid that no storm can destroy it, free from the kinds of vulnerabilities and weaknesses that could cause pain or destruction later. They understand more deeply than you may realize that their silence troubles you, that it creates questions and doubts in your mind during the quiet hours of the night. They can imagine you lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they still feel the same overwhelming love, if this connection still means as much to them as it clearly does to you. They can picture the questions that run through your mind like a river. Does he truly want this future we've talked about? Does he still believe in the possibility of us? Has something changed in his heart? If they could reach across whatever distance separates you in this moment and speak directly to your heart, they would say, "Beloved, let me put your worried heart at ease. My quietness is not a sign of indifference or waning love, it is exactly the opposite. It is the sound of me working tirelessly behind the scenes, building something solid for us, making sacrifices that you may never see or fully understand, all for the sake of what we have and what we could become." If they didn't care as deeply as they do, if this relationship didn't mean everything to them, they wouldn't be making these difficult changes at all. It would be easier to simply walk away, to choose a path that required less effort and sacrifice. But every step they take right now has a sacred purpose, and that purpose is you. It's the future they envision with you, the life they want to build alongside you. These are not small, superficial changes they are making. They are reshaping entire aspects of their life, rebuilding themselves from the ground up in some ways. That kind of profound transformation takes time, tremendous effort, and an unshakable belief in the goal they are striving toward. And their goal is not simply to spend casual moments with you here and there, not to see where things might go or how things might develop. Their vision is much grander and more sacred than that. They are working toward sharing a complete life with you, whether that manifests as marriage in the traditional sense or as a deep, lifelong partnership that transcends conventional definitions. You are not just someone they care about, you are their beloved, the one person they want standing beside them as they face whatever the future may bring. Their vision of tomorrow, of next year, of decades to come, has you at its absolute center. They are not taking these difficult steps to explore possibilities or test the waters. They are making these sacrifices and changes because they want something lasting and real and beautiful, something that both of you can look back on years from now with hearts full of pride and joy, knowing that you built something magnificent together. They also carry the heavy awareness that you bear wounds from the past, and it causes them physical pain to know that they contributed to those injuries. You feel, and perhaps with complete justification, that they should have fought harder for your relationship in earlier times, that they should have been braver when bravery was called for, that they should have chosen love over fear when the critical moments demanded a choice.